Welcome. Previously, we looked at Sigmund Freud's psychic structure of the individual, the id, the ego, and superego. Freud's theory is also a development theory, examining how the above structure comes about. The psychoanalytic theory of child development defines phases of development in terms of erogenous zones, aspects of the physical body through which a pleasurable experience can be had. Sometimes the pleasure comes from an activity directly, like a baby sucking. At other times it can come from a sense of mastery, as in toilet training. Every human, according to Freud, passes through these stages in moving from birth to adulthood. The first phase is the oral phase, the earliest phase of infancy up to the first year, since mouth pleasures dominate at first. At this stage, primary process thinking predominates. In time, as the infant incorporates and identifies with reality, the ego, and eventually a superego, separate from the id. The ego delays gratification, reasoning according to secondary processes, a reality-oriented form of thought. In order to coordinate the hedonistic promptings of the id, the countering sociocultural mandates of the superego, and the practical demands of reality, the ego must rely upon a series of unconscious psychic maneuvers that Freud called defense mechanisms, and I'm going to talk about those in a later lecture. The next phase after the oral phase is the anal phase. During the second year of life, the child begins to act assertively in achieving bowel control and gets pleasure out of either giving up or retaining bowel movements. The third phase is called the phallic phase. After bowel control has been established, interest shifts to genital functions and genital differences. So the boy notices that males, his father especially, have a penis, and that females, let's say his sister or another girl he has seen, does not. And so he suffers castration anxiety, and through what was called Oedipal conflict, after Oedipus Rex, the famous play in which the king murders his father and sexually possesses his mother. Freud called this the Oedipal conflict. And again, due to castration anxiety, the boy thinks that, look, I can become like one of those girls, have my penis cut off, and I'd be a girl, right? That's why they look like they do. And that's the power the father has to do that sort of thing. So instead of fighting him, I'm going to join him. I'm going to identify with him. So I want to be just like the father, and I'm going to put on my father's shoes, I'm going to try on his tie, I'm going to walk like him, act like him. I'm going to identify with the father. This happens between the third and fifth year, the Oedipal conflict. And after that, we have a nice period, from roughly age of 5 to the age of 11 or 12 or so, called the latency period. I did not write it on here because it's not really a stage, but there's a time when there really isn't a whole lot that takes place in Freudian theory as far as erogenous zones of the body. So you have this very nice time in childhood where you don't have a lot of how can we say, anxiety about things, again, between the ages of roughly 5 and 12 or so. And lastly, we have the genital stage, and this comes with the approach of puberty. So with the onset of puberty and adolescence, interest in genital functions has reached sufficient maturity to make the adolescent aware of his or her approaching sex role, and to also make a realistic preoccupation with persons of the opposite sex. So this is normal sexual functioning by adolescence. Thank you very much.